A Forte podcast, the newest business podcast with the intention of bringing its guests to you in person. So listen, watch, and be able to meet these people that we have on this platform in person. Like, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, the Forte community. Let's go.
Let's go. And make sure also you go to Amazon. Amazon, get my latest book, Wholesale to Wealth. Wholesale to Wealth. If you want to learn the strategies of wholesaling in real estate, but not just real estate. If you're a car salesman, if you are selling books, whatever you're selling, listen, I want to teach you the game in small format. You got to go make your boy a top seller right now. Go to Amazon.com. Make sure you put in Wholesale to Wealth. Yeah, I'm an author now, so thank y'all so much for your support. Thank you for those of you that have already purchased the book, but be sure to go there right now. Welcome to the Forte Podcast. I am your co-host, Dominic Epps.
And I'm your co-host, Randall Monfiston.
And we are here to dive into your lane of greatness to discover what comes easy for you that may not be easy for all others.
Everyone's a genius, from the 9-to-5 employee to the Fortune 500 billionaire. We're here to highlight those attributes through dialogue and interviews with amazing guests.
Man, we've been having some amazing guests too. And so I got one question for you, my brother.
What's that, bro?
Your forte?
What's your forte?
Woo! Man, bro.
Yeah, man.
Man. Listen. Editor, please, editor, put the blooper, plug the blooper in right now. Like, put the blooper right. I need the world to see that, you know, we record this live, right? Now, of course, we have our cuts, we stop, we redo. But for the most part, we record it live. So what you see is what you get. So, editor, please make sure you put that blooper in there, because that was the livest, hypest. Sound like he just had a shot of Hennessy intro we have had in a long time. But bro, what's going on, man?
It wasn't that bad.
How was your weekend, man? How was your day, man? How was everything?
My weekend was good. It was good. Went to the beach, put some food on the grill, got a little tan. I got a little melanin coming on right now. So
gotcha.
Your boy feeling himself. Yeah. What about yourself?
That's interesting that you say that, man, because light-skinned people desire to be dark. Dark-skinned people desire to be light, which is pretty interesting.
Exactly, yeah.
Right?
I think the people in between are not designed to change. I think it's if you're on either end of the spectrum, you're trying to switch it up a little bit. But I don't think I ever heard someone who's like just brown or caramel trying to switch it up.
Okay,
right?
That's yeah. I didn't think about that, but I know for me, I like to make sure my lights are on, right? Because I'm very melanin, so I like to make sure I'm bright, right? But it's interesting that, you know, you talked about getting a tan. Like, brother, why are you getting a tan? But hey, man, you know, by all means, I get it. I totally get it. So you got a tan this weekend. Did you cook on the grill, or did you just have grill food? Did you cook yourself?
No, I cooked on the grill. I opened up I took the cover off the grill, and I smoked some chicken. I smoked some what else I had? Some corn on the cob, and
that's dope.
I forgot the other thing. Hot dogs,
dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. Let me tell you, man, last night, man, DJ's teething, man, and he got I guess his back molars coming in. Bro, he was on another level last night. Like, nothing would calm him down. I was like, I couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it. So,
man, so you working off of no sleep right now?
Yeah, and that was after driving all day. You know what I mean?
After driving all day. Yeah.
Yesterday. But anyway, it's all good though. We don't make any excuses. I'm here, and I'm just letting y'all know that we're here, and we have an amazing guest today, man. And so, brother, please do the honor of introducing this amazing guest that we have on the show today, because we keeping that fire coming. If y'all haven't noticed, we bring in fire. So who do we have coming on today?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that we're starting to stretch our arms of the podcast into different industries as we've already been doing it, but we're taking it in a different direction with this particular guest. So this individual has been able to create a community in the DC area of like-minded individuals, professionals, especially geared towards the urban community. Hence the name that you'll be able to hear from him when he comes off of mic, called the Urban Professional Community, doing great things, supporting how we all come together to support each other in like a collaboration type of a space. So I'm not going to take too much more of his time or our time. Just hear from the man himself. Justin, come off mic and tell these people what's your forte.
Let's go.
What's good?
Let's go.
I love it. I love it. I'm so glad to be here, man. I'm honored that y'all could invite me on your platform to share. And I'm going to answer your question, man. My forte is social entrepreneurship, man. That's what I'm titling it. I feel like I moved in a bunch of different lanes, but that's the title I'm going to slap on it for now. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that in the context of UPC.
Social entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah, okay. He's an official forteer. He's a forte. Yeah, he's official.
Oh, yeah. Justin, we didn't talk about that. We officially named our community members Forteers. That's where we're going to go with.
I like that. I like
that. Yeah.
See, you got to get your forte, man.
Yo, that's what's up. That's what I'm talking about. So kind of break that down. What do you mean by social entrepreneur, right? Are you bringing your goal is to bring all other entrepreneurs together? That's how you socially work that? Like what I know those two words mean separately, but together, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. Social entrepreneurs, oftentimes when you have a somebody who runs a nonprofit, you'll call them a social entrepreneur because especially when they do is community driven, organizing people, bringing people together. That's, but there's finance and entrepreneurship and business that's happening, but it's not necessarily for personal gain. It's for social gain or the gain of your network and your community of people around you. So that's why I call myself a social entrepreneur. And to your point, I am bringing people together. That's my goal. So that's how I got network with y'all and a bunch of other people in our network, trying to bring entrepreneurs together to learn from one another and teach the greater community this thing called entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Justin, I attended my very first UPC meeting when we were in DC. We had our event, right? The all white event, and Randall took me to the event at, what was the name of that place, Randall?
Was it Sound Bar? I think it was Sound Bar.
Yeah, the Sound Bar. And man, it was different. Like, first time experiencing something in a total different environment, but it was network, it was socializing, but it was also informative, right? Like it was, we got good education on Airbnb, right? And so it's dope what you have going on. But let's get into your background, man. Let us know where you're from and a little bit about your family and your upbringing, how things were for you growing up.
Of course. So I'm from outside the DMV, so Baltimore County area. So if you're familiar with the DMV, those of you listening, there's DC, Maryland, Virginia, and then there's Baltimore, which is in Maryland, but it's not really. Hold on. Did you not know that? Did you not know that?
No. Help me out with this, man. Like, so Baltimore is not. Come on,
it's not DMV, man. You been to Baltimore recently?
I have been to Baltimore. I have.
Okay. Have you hung out with people from Baltimore, or who? Yeah.
No.
Okay. So maybe that's why you haven't been familiar with this, but people from Baltimore are just altogether different than people from the DMV.
I agree.
That you get in the DMV is different when you're up in Baltimore. Baltimore has its own great things. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like small business, and when you're Black and trying to do business in real estate, Baltimore is where it's at. But if you're trying to party and really be a part of that like political crowd of from a federal standpoint, and then federal contracts and just the whole business, all this thing that is DC, Baltimore's a little bit slower speed. So it's just different, man. And the dialect is different. The lingo is different. The way they dress The way they carry themselves is different, not in a bad way, or it's just different.
It's different. So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the East from the West, man.
So you grew up in now I've heard people call it Baltimore. So how do you pronounce it? Is it Baltimore or Baltimore? How do you
say
pronounce it?
Now you put me on the spot, but I say Baltimore. All right. So if you're from the area, you're gonna say it with a D. You're not gonna say it with a T.
Oh, gotcha. Baltimore.
No matter what color you are, believe it or not.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man, I grew up in Baltimore County, which that's a whole nother conversation. It's different than Baltimore City. So I did not grow up on the wire. You know what I mean? Like that whole lifestyle was not my lifestyle. I wasn't coming out on the corner and seeing all kinds of stuff. Like I was raised in a little bit different environment. But yeah, man, coming from that area, and then I went to school in Nashville at Vanderbilt University. And then when I graduated from there, I went to Connecticut for engineering. So I engineering degree, Connecticut for 2 years, Georgia for 2 years, and then back here. But when I came back, I came to the DMV, and the DMV really had my home. So it's kind of weird. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, but I consider myself like more so personality wise DMV.
Got you. So, man, it's throwing me off, right? Because I don't even understand why do y'all divide each other yourselves like that. But that's a whole different subject. People don't care about the geographical location type of thing. It just throws me off because you're not the first person that says that, and it doesn't make sense to me, right? But okay, y'all, we're talking about 30, 40 minutes for people who are not from the DC area. We're talking about 30, 40 minutes, and y'all put y'all make one seem like the bastard's stepchild or something like that.
I'm gonna explain it to you. First, I'm gonna explain the county city thing, and then I'm gonna explain the Baltimore versus DMV thing. So the county city thing in Baltimore is I spent a lot of my time, like 8 years, living in other places. And then when I say I'm from Baltimore, if I don't say county, you run across somebody that's also from Baltimore, but actually like Baltimore proper, they're gonna check you on. And they're going to be like, okay, what school did you go to? This, that, and the third. And if you don't, it's just a weird thing. So not only that, but it's like, everybody asks me, oh, so was it growing up like The Wire? And I'm like, no, man, I'm tired of clarifying this. So I'm going to say Baltimore County.
Got it.
And the DMV versus Baltimore thing is similar. It's like, I mean, you got two different football teams, different sports teams, like, and just people, just the vibe is different. Just the personality type is different. You don't really want to claim that you're from the other side if you came from that one side. So that's just all that is, man.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the history lesson with that. But
course.
back to what the viewers care about, the listeners care about. So kind of a walk us. So you talked about your childhood and your upbringing, right? And you talked about social entrepreneurship. Have you always been that person always trying to collaborate, like connect the dots is what I like. There's a investment group I'm part of. They call it Avatars. I forgot what it's called. It's escaping my mind, but people who are about connecting the dots. So I see a skill you have, and I see a skill somebody else has, and y'all will be well partnering up. Has that been kind of your mindset as you evolved over the years to then become a UPC lead?
So I think you put it a great way when you said evolved. I've evolved into that. I was not, so my history is I'm an only child. Okay. And so I would play outside by myself. But then when I did have friends that would come over, let's say it was snowing, instead of sledding, and I tell my wife this all the time, like super introspective, like, why do I build these things? Like, why am I so passionate about this? I was the type of kid who, instead of sledding and just, having fun, I would sit there and build the biggest ramp, the biggest snow ramp I could. Or I would sit there and build the biggest fort, or whatever it is. I would engineer something. And the feeling that I got from other people enjoying what I built gave me greater satisfaction than if I were to just sled down the hill. You know what I'm saying? So that's a parallel to this whole social entrepreneurship thing. It's like I'm obsessed with pouring my time and energy into something that other people can benefit from, and I benefit from, right? We all have fun together. And we all learn together and we all grow together. So that's kind of what morphed me into that.
Got it.
Cool.
And actually, you said engineer, right? So you have an engineering degree.
Right.
So kind
That's
of
right.
all those traits kind of are parallel to one another, right? So that's dope.
I think he's the
You
second
got some
engineer
down?
we had on the show too.
You said what?
I think he's the second engineer we had on the show.
Oh yeah,
And
Brandon.
Yeah,
Brandon is an
Brandon.
engineer. Yeah,
different
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. He's
yeah.
the second one. So we got somebody from Baltimore and somebody from I think Brandon is from
He's from DC.
DC.
He's from DC.
Yeah, he's
DC
from,
proper, I believe. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's from DC.
Dom, you said it well though. Baltimore. Say it one more time for the
Yeah, I
audience.
got you. Baltimore.
Say,
I got you, brother. I got
you
you.
can say it one more time for the audience. Say it for those in the back.
Listen, I still mess up Randall's last name, but for right now, I got Baltimore down.
We're not gonna do this.
I got
The
you.
Haitian community gonna eat you alive. Keep on. Let's practice.
We're not going to do it. We're not going there. We're not going there.
Yeah,
So growing up, it was just you as the only child, right? Was it a 2-parent household, single mom?
Single mom, and for a long period of that time, I also lived with my grandparents. So,
Okay. Yep.
like my mom and my grandparents together. So,
Gotcha. So when we're talking about Baltimore County, is that more suburban? Is that what it is? Would you?
It is.
more
I
suburban?
should have clarified.
Okay.
Definitely birth.
Okay. Gotcha.
You get close to that county line, though, it can change a little bit. It gets.
Give me a landmark, because let me tell you something, man.
Okay.
My first time coming to Baltimore, we went to the harbor, right?
Yep.
And we went by the hospital. What is the big hospital? John Hopkins,
Johns Hopkins.
right?
Yep.
And in my mind, I'm like, oh, John Hopkins is gonna be like downtown, and we're riding past, and I said, we in the hood.
Yeah.
I'm like looking left and right in the hood. And it was interesting, right? It was very interesting to know that one small stretch, right? Like you are in a situation to where you're like, oh, now I get it. I get why the prices are what they are, right? It brought everything into perspectives, right? So I can understand when you have to clarify Baltimore County, because
That's right.
when you say just Baltimore, people are going to assume, oh, this brother is from the bottom of the bottom, right? Because that's what we think about. Let's just call it for what it is, right? So growing up in Baltimore County as the only child, right? What was your biggest dream? Like, what did you have as your biggest dream as a child?
Man, I was a creative. It varied. As I'm sure most kids do. At some point, I wanted to be a fireman. At some point, I wanted to be an inventor, whatever that meant. At some point, I wanted to create a restaurant and create a comic book series. But I'd say ultimately, I just wanted to make an impact somewhere. I thought that would be in engineering. I thought engineering would get me the closest to inventing. So I went on that journey, went through engineering education, got my engineering job. And then they gave me a pencil and some CAD programming and, messing around with machines and stuff like that. And I just wasn't really fulfilled. So then my dream changed, still knew that I wanted to create, but it just didn't look the same. So, now I'm doing data analytics by a day job, but to keep the bills running, you know what I mean, while I still build something else. But yeah, that's the dream morphs and changes, but the root of it still stays the same. I think that's probably the case for most people.
Cool. That's good.
So as you evolve through this different phases of trying to self-realization, or right, what really fulfills me, where on this journey did you come to the realization that you wanted to create your own community for social entrepreneurship? Or were you part of somebody else's or seeing somebody else's and then be like, I want to spin this off and do my own thing and add my own like ingredients to what I think would be a better way of doing it? Or you just straight out the gate said, I think I need to create my own community so I could get the fulfilling desire that I want?
Yeah, so I could tell you exactly how that came about. So I told you I went from Nashville, Connecticut, down to Georgia, right? So Nashville to Connecticut, there's black people in Connecticut, okay? Um, there's black people everywhere, right? Most places. But the particular vibe that I was appreciating was black professionalism, right? And so I would go to these different groups, some of them associated with my job, some not, that were just like black professionals groups in that area. I really enjoyed it. Then when I moved down to Georgia, because my job kind of forced me to go down there, and this was not Atlanta. All right, so I need to clarify that. This was Columbus, Georgia, which is like 2 hours south of Atlanta. So it's not close enough to just be up in Atlanta every night. They also had black people, but the black professionals vibe was just not there.
Was it Baltimore County vibe or Baltimore City vibe?
No, it wasn't even, it was neither, bro. Columbus is just different, man. Columbus is like
PG County vibe?
It was like, if you're from Maryland, it was like Harford County, but there was, it was like Harford County. But since y'all probably aren't familiar with that, it was country. It was country, and it has a small town feel to it, where everybody grew up there and they stay there, and either that or you're military. So whether you're white, you're black, everyone knows each other, and just everything's like smaller. And there's not a lot of black professionalism. So I created a first version of UPC actually when I was down there, and it was called Urban Professionals in Columbus.
Wow. What year was this? What year was this?
This would have been 2013, 2014 that I created that first product. Yep.
So it's interesting that you say that, right? In I want to say 2015, this was right during Trayvon Martin, the protest, right? So right during the Trayvon Martin protest, I started, it was called Black Business Owners Alliance. And my goal was to bring black professionals together, and we would come, we would meet, we would network, and we would receive education on how to build and expand our business, right? And when you talked about that town in Columbus, Georgia, it reminds me of where I'm from, in Suffolk, Virginia, right? We were considered the lowest of the crop of the 7 cities. So when you think about the 757, Norfolk, Virginia Beach, Hampton, Chesapeake, Newport News, Portsmouth, right? Suffolk was considered the bottom. They called us country. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Even though it's the largest city in Virginia land-wise, but population-wise, it's not. Okay, so I started to say when we started this, the local newspaper chief editor ran an article and said that we were exclusive and we were not allowing whites to participate in what we were doing. Wow. And he connected us. He connected us to the protesters and the thugs. It was very interesting, right? And so what started happening was, because I've been an entrepreneur for years, right? So at this point, I mean, hey, I'm an entrepreneur, I own my own business. And so there were people that were coming that kind of got a little shook up, right? And so I called the chief editor, and I can tell you're probably familiar with this. When you are in certain areas of business and certain spaces, you know how to blend in with individuals that don't look and sound like you, right?
Oh yeah.
And so instead of me getting upset and getting frustrated, and acting like, you know, who he wrote about, right? I gave him a call and I said, hey man, because I knew he was a member of the Rotary, right? I said, hey, I would love to go with you to your Rotary meeting, right? And because he called us exclusive. And I know in their Rotary meetings, even though they don't label it exclusive, it's exclusive, right? So he said, oh yeah, let Let me get back with you on that. I said, cool, man, no problem. Just know I'm very interested, right? So I knew he had to give them a warning, let them know that, hey, Dominic is wanted to come to our Rotary meeting. So I go. There was one other black person there, the vice mayor at the time of the city, and I went to a couple of their meetings, right? And I only went because I wanted to prove to him that what we do and what you do, it happens all the time, right? Doesn't mean that you're a racist. It just means that you are looking to pull your people together for whatever purpose and intentions that you have, right? And it doesn't mean it's negative. It's a positive thing, right? And so when I went to the UPC meeting, man, and you know, I saw what was there and how the socializing and people was just openly meeting. It wasn't like people were just standing there and being still and stubborn and stuck up and just like they to themselves. You know, if you were by yourself, someone came and approached you. Someone approached you, someone introduced themselves to you, and someone had a conversation, right? And for us, it was great because here we were promoting our event, and you all did an amazing job supporting it. So I want to say kudos to you and to the entire UPC for, you know, just supporting what me and Randall have with the Forte experience, right? Now, I say all this to say this here. In Columbus, Georgia, where I know that there's probably, you know, people that wasn't so supportive of black professionals meeting. How did you overcome the adversity you received from putting that out? Because I know it happened.
You know, it did happen. And you may be or you may not be surprised with who the adversity came from. And it came from other blacks, man. And they didn't like that word professionalism. They felt like it separated us down there. It's like, oh, why you gotta be black professionals? Why can't you just be black people? And it's like, well, like that's not the point, man. Like, we're not separating ourselves at all. We're just trying to say that when you come to this environment, it's a professional environment. You can be from whatever walk of life, have whatever type of profession you want to have. But when you're here, you know, we're professional. We're not like twerking on the walls and doing all this kind of stuff. Now, sometimes if the environment leads to certain, you know what I mean? And once we, you know, get to a certain level of
that Baltimore coming out. Yeah, that Baltimore coming out. Yeah.
But, you know, that's not what we set out to do, if that makes sense. And so we had some pushback there. And I think just generally, in general, it didn't catch as much as it did up here, obviously. Just again, because of the type of vibe that people are used to down there and what they want. And up here in DC, that's kind of the norm. Professionalism is the norm. Everybody's familiar with it. I don't think anybody's offended by it. Some people may choose to, you know, persist in those environments and others don't, and that's fine. But I think no one is offended by it up here. And so that's why I think UPC has really been able to thrive up here as opposed to down in Columbus.
So, Randall, I know you have a question, but I want to ask one more question before you get in. So, what made you change it to UPC from the black professionals?
So yeah, we actually did create it was called Black Professionals Community or something like that at first. But then I knew that I had a vision eventually that this could become something bigger. And I knew there were already, like, at a national scale, too many things called Black professionals, what have you. So I also, kind of going back to your point, I foresaw the writing on the wall of what you just mentioned, Dom, about people calling it too exclusive and, you know, whatnot. So urban, I just substituted the word urban in there. It's a little bit more palatable for some folks. So that's where UPC came. Yeah. I'm sure you gathered that.
Oh, yeah. No. I get it. Listen, I had people ask me we've had meetings and it was like, man, change the name. You know, why is it black professionals? Can you just say minority, right? Or can you add black and brown? or like I was like, no, it's black, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I don't think OW Gurley or JB Stratford was saying we shouldn't say Black Wall Street, right?
Yep.
Like it's black, right? But
Yep.
but this is what I had to understand is that some of these individuals were not just entrepreneurs only. They had 9 to 5s. They
Mm-hmm.
worked for other people, or they rented space from other people, right?
Yeah.
And so they were looking at, hey man, me being a part of this can impact my livelihood. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure if I'm willing to risk that for a name.
I haven't thought about it like that. Okay.
You gotta be intentional
Yeah.
about the impact you're trying to make,
Yeah.
man. So I respect that 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So I get it. I totally get it. But you put a good twist on it, because urban, even though it can be assumed to be black people, it actually encompasses everybody who takes on the nature of
Yep.
being urban. So that's dope.
You can be an ally.
Yep.
Why not?
Absolutely. Yep. What you got, bro? What you got?
Yeah, so you brought up something that I want to segue into the question was with regard of how Columbus was harder, and it was our own community, in a sense, black community, that were hesitant. But then you went to DC, and it seemed like it was easier. What were, I guess, for someone who has the same passion as you, Justin, what are some of the hurdles that you've experienced? Some of the things, the lessons learned, whether it's starting a nonprofit, what are the wickets that you have to hit to create that, and how did you start fostering the relationships to then bring people into a community? Like, how does that look?
Yeah. I can definitely, and I'd say some of these problems we've had for a while, and we've just been starting to navigate through them. But I can tell you from a nonprofit standpoint, funding is always an issue, right? And if you're a business, right, a lot of times, how do you get funding? You might bootstrap it. You might start from your own funding sources or self-funding, or you might go out and get a bank loan, right? But with a nonprofit, typically, you're going for grants, you're going for sponsors, and even getting into that lane and that world can be very difficult. You have to find people with experience, and that's something that we have not even yet taken that route. So we've been doing a lot of bootstrapping successfully, and we've gotten pretty good at it. But that's been a huge challenge from a nonprofit standpoint. I'd say another one is support. So running a nonprofit, again, relates to funding, right? If you don't have money to pay people, and if you're busy like I am, I've got a wife and kid myself, you can't do it all, right? So you need a team of people with you. And finding support, consistent support, 12 months out the year can be very difficult. So I think over the years, we've started to tune these things in and figure out some things. I will say one challenge that we had to overcome just getting in our own way. And I think a lot of nonprofits that are birthed out of something that maybe you started something that you weren't sure what it was going to be. It's something that you wanted to do anyways, and you've just done it for some time. And then you decide you want to take it into the business realm or to stamp a nonprofit, classification on it. But then your people are used to your services pro bono. They're used to coming to your events for free, accepting your services for free or for dirt cheap. And at some point, you're going to hit a milestone, I'll put it, that you're going to need to start charging what you're worth. And I could tell you how many people for years told us at UPC to start charging for our events, whereas for years, and I mean years, we started here in the DMV in 2017. I don't think we charged for our first event until 2022.
Wow.
And we just did everything just bootstrap again. We didn't have to come out of pocket a lot of expenses, but so that taught us some things, right, about how to do things pretty cheaply. But at some point when you want to start having a larger impact, you're going to need funding. And one of the quickest ways to get that funding is to start charging for your services. So definitely one of the biggest.
Well, let me ask you this, Justin. So you created this company as a nonprofit, right? Which means you had to assemble a board together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Yes.
or your officers, right?
Yeah.
And so, what is the ultimate vision of UPC?
Okay. Love it. So the ultimate vision for UPC is to be national and for it to be the largest and most prominent platform for young Black professionals, entrepreneurs, and investors to learn the skills to succeed in building wealth and how to be successful as entrepreneurs or as investors. And the way that we want to do that is we want to continue to host events in different, areas of the United States and different, different chapters, hosting events in a similar way, but also have online programs and member-based community platforms. So we've been doing a lot of that over the past year or two. We are a membership community. Our members do pay dues, and in return, they attend all of our stuff for free. They also get certain programs like masterminds, recordings, and any kind of extra podcast material. They get all that for free, as well as the ability to kind of network with the mentors in our group. And we think that's a great model that we want to expand. And we want this to be, again, it's a different flavor as a nonprofit, right? So the vision is, you guys have both been to college, I presume.
I haven't. No.
Oh, you did not? Fantastic. Fantastic. So in college, there's a lot of professional societies depending on the career track that you want to go.
Let me correct that. I've been to college, meaning on the campus for other reasons. College, but go ahead. Go ahead.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So National Society.
Shout out to my wife. I only went to go see my wife. So let me just clarify that. Let me not act like I was out there wilding.
I don't even know why you
only went because my wife was going to Norfolk State. Shout out to
the editor will not cut that part out.
Yeah, I know. The whole green and gold Spartans. But go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
National Society of Black Engineers, National Association of Black Accountants, National Black MBA, right? Whatever track you're trying to go, whether it's medicine or, again, accounting, financial services. Well, not so much. Let's peel back from the financial services piece a little bit, because I think that's where there's a gap that we want to fill. And not just financial services, but financial education for entrepreneurship. So how many professional societies do you know that exist for entrepreneurship? So and what this looks like, right? For those who haven't attended college or a 4-year college or even a 2-year college, right? As an engineer, my freshman year, you have fraternities and sororities, and you got MPHC fraternities and other fraternities, right? But you also have these organizations who are going to help you succeed in the major that you're in. And so as an engineer, as a Black engineer, NSBE, and a lot of NSBE folks will say this, helped me graduate. I don't know that I would have graduated as a Black engineer had it not been for NSBE, because of the community of Black engineers that it surrounded me with, because of the resources that were available to me, and the mentoring and the networking and the jobs that came from the annual conferences, right? So that's my vision, right? Maybe in a college or even as a professionals chapter in local cities, right? Where do you go when you want to, that you want to start a business, but you just have an idea and you're not quite at that stage where you're going to join an incubator program or an accelerator program, but you just know you want to be around other entrepreneurs who have started businesses, right? Or are starting businesses, and maybe you want to partner with them, right? So I want UPC to be that conduit nationwide for people to plug into when they know that this is where they want to go, but they just don't know how to get there. That's the vision.
That's good. That's good.
Man, I'm envisioning like you have your own little meetup type of platform, right? Like not necessarily Meetup as you're advertising other people's, but UPC, right? Like
Yes.
if anybody's looking for how to be a lawyer, you have a whole registry of different people within your hub, right? Like, man,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's dope. That's dope. Yeah, that's dope.
You can log onto our website and find, resources. And this is all stuff that we're actively building. Actually, I've got a Fiverr contract out right now building this for us. But
man,
you can log
VAs,
into
man, them VAs is the truth. For real.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
For real.
And find resources on a certain lane of entrepreneurship, whether you want to start a vending machine business, whether you want to get into real estate, right? And we're going to have those resources available to you to accelerate your learning. And then have the mentors there that are earmarked and say, hey, I'm willing to help out if this is the journey that you want to be on. So that's what I'm building.
That's good, man.
So you have technically mentor and coaching programs already built in a box. Like somebody who like Steph or somebody like Les or somebody, they could come. You already have the community and be like, hey,
Yes.
I got somebody who could mentor you already. And you have all the appointment in different industries. And then everybody's helping each other. Then he goes on and creates something bigger. And then they could step in now, be mentors and so on. So yeah, man, like my mind is going. Go ahead.
But what about, and Steph and Les, right? How can we help them? Because this is a two-way street, right? And again, because if their services are pro bono, then, they may feel drained if they keep pouring into something that they're not getting something out of. So what can we do to help them? Well, our marketing platform, maybe if you're just launching your business or you've been successful at your business and now you want to develop a coaching program or an online course program, who do you partner with to start building that platform? Because it's hard to build a platform from scratch, as I'm sure you know. And so since we have some visibility in that arena, at least in the DMV region right now, why not partner with us to start building that? So it's kind of a handshake type of situation.
Although it may be pro bono initially, I think it's a resume writer, right? Because you need a proof of concept, right? When you're first creating it, it's a draft curriculum, it's a draft coaching program, mentorship, whatever the case may be. But you get to fine tune it with people in this community, and then in turn, those could be testimonials that now you could go package that and put it in your marketing. You could say that I've taught 50, 60 students, so now you have the backing. What was free is now it's marketing in a sense down the road. So I think that's the benefit when you're first trying to start out. You come to this community if you're already in the community, and you'll be able to share. This is what I could teach the community in this lane that I've already. This journey, I'm 2-3 years ahead, right? I think there was somebody. I feel like it was on Social Proof. You just got to be 2-3 chapters ahead of the person that you're trying to teach, right? And then the person, you just keep on going. That's how we all progress. Like somebody like the Nesby program. There's people who probably graduated, people who were seniors teaching the juniors or the sophomores and the freshmen. They were a couple chapters, a couple grades ahead, teaching a person. Each one teach one. And I think that's what you're creating right now. That's what you're creating with this right here.
So Justin, here's my question to you. When is the next or the first UPC convention or conference?
I love this question. So last year, we did an event called Investor Social. And I think when I first met you, Randall, I told you about this, where the theme of real estate, and we brought a bunch of investors together, sat on a panel, had a big major event, brought a bunch of people out, and we did charge for that event. It was amazing, right? So this year, we're doing it again, but we're changing the flavor up a little bit. I don't want to put too much out there because it's not 100% confirmed, but in the November timeframe, you can expect another Investor Social. We may change the name a little bit and cater this one to entrepreneurs specifically instead of just real estate investing.
Just make sure is not the beginning of November. Just make sure it's not the beginning of November because we got the all black. Okay. We have our all black in Georgia and Atlanta beginning of November.
Let's coordinate. Let's make sure we're not conflict.
Yeah.
This is why we do it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad to know that because that's what I want to avoid for sure. But yeah, I got some powerhouses in my network as of late, and we're going to bring something real special to the DMV. that might look and feel kind of like a conference, but be a little bit shorter than that. So
that's
more,
dope. That's dope.
Yeah, man. So what do you need help with from the like our listeners and viewers who want to be able to offer a pro bono work? Do you need somebody who's good at grant proposal writing? Do you need somebody who's good at marketing? Like what is the list? If you had to create your dream team, share with our viewers, our listeners, what are you looking for to help you grow UPC to where you want it to be?
Look, man, just tap in with us. If you have services or expertise or experience in a certain area that helps people build wealth, whether that's your business or that's your profession and you just want to help others, I urge you to just reach out to us at upcboard@gmail.com. Again, that's UPC as an Urban Professionals Community Board, BOARD at Gmail, to reach out to us and let us know you're interested in being a mentor. That would be super, super helpful because we're getting ready to launch our formal mentors program. Up to this point, it's been informal, but we're going to launch that program and give you all the perks and tell you what that's going to look like. From if you are not a business owner and you just you're interested in being a part of UPC, whether as a member or just on the sidelines, just figuring out if this is something that you're interested in. Again, you can email us at upcboard@gmail, or you can follow us at UPC_DMV on Instagram, or on LinkedIn. And I know I'm probably jumping ahead. You guys are probably going to ask me this later. But on LinkedIn, we're just listed as linkedin.com/company/UPCDMV. And tap in with us so you can be a part of this movement. And if you're interested in even participating as a leader, that will be super, super helpful as well. Because again, we are volunteer based and we're all busy. And so if we spread the wealth, spread the resources, we'll get it done quicker than we would get it done otherwise. So that's how people can help us out. And also come to our events. And I can tell you about some of our upcoming events as well.
Go ahead, share it.
June 13th, we have something special coming up. We are partnering with Them to Us, which is another DMV-based professionals networking group. And we are hosting a entrepreneur, real estate, banking, and investor networking event. They tend to bring a lot of people out to their events. It's absolutely free. It's going to be at Focus Social Lounge on June the 13th, with us a Thursday. Amazing panelists, and just network with other people in those professions or industries. And then this is hot off the press. The registration was just created today. I'm teaming up with my employer, Deloitte, and an entity called the Financial Empowerment Center of Prince George's, which is located at Prince George's County Community College. And we're going to be bringing a Deloitte panel of consultants and small business specialists that are going to talk to small business owners and aspiring small business owners about how to succeed in this modern business era, from AI to strategy to everything that looks post-COVID, and how to succeed, finances, operations, anything like that. Come ask questions of Deloitte consultants for those types of things, and learn how to potentially get contracted with a Deloitte or someone like that, or even the federal government. So this is an amazing event that we have coming up on June 27th at Prince George's Community College. And then the next UPC Fridays, usually every first Friday of the month, but this one will be on the second Friday of July. I think that's the 10th, will be our July rendition of UPC Fridays.
All right. Awesome, man. So, Justin, we want you to go ahead and close it out with this, man. Let us know 5 years, 10 years from now, where do you see UPC?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to say within a year or two, no more than 2 years, we're going to have 1 or 2 additional chapters launched, probably in the Philly or Charlotte area. I'd say within 5 years, I expect us to fully be up and down the East Coast and in different major metropolitan markets. And also having school or college campus branches as well. And then 10 years from now, man, we are going to be that national organization that is recognized to first tap in when you want to get the resources for how to establish yourself as an entrepreneur or an investor. UPC nationwide, baby. That's the 10-year vision.
I love it.
Man, I
love
love that. That's what's up, man.
I love it. I love it. How can I get in contact with you, Justin? Go ahead and give your contact information.
Yep. So
get in contact with you.
Yep. So for UPC in general, again, that's Instagram is UPC_DMV. And for LinkedIn, it's linkedin.com/company/UPCDMV. For me personally, you can find me on LinkedIn, Justin R. Saunders. R is my middle initial. Again, I work for Deloitte, so you can find me that way. And I'm always tapped in with the UPC board Gmail. So if you send an email to upcboard@gmail.com, I will for sure see that email, although we have a team of people that will also be able to respond from there as well.
You got it.
Yo,
all right.
Justin,
That's it.
I appreciate it.
Come on. Y'all give it up. Y'all
man.
give it up for Justin, man. Come on. Justin Saunders in the house. Justin, hold tight, man. Go back to the hold tight right quick. We're coming right back with you, man. Coming right back with you. Hey, bro. Another fire. Another fire, man.
Yo, I'm just loving the vision that he has, right? Like that's dope, right? Like I don't think I've heard of anybody. I've heard of different communities, but to bring it on a national level, to have chapters, like, man, this I just look forward to see how he brings this to life. This is gonna be dope.
This is what blesses me, and we didn't even discuss this, right? For the sake of time, we didn't even discuss this. But when I attended that UPC meeting at the Soundbar, Justin wasn't there. But it speaks a lot to his leadership that event was able to go on and succeed at the capacity that it did, and he not have to be present.
Yeah, it ran
That's
smooth.
when you know you have something good. When you don't have to physically be present, but the show goes on as if you were already there. That communicates you have a great team, but also that you have a great leader. So kudos to him to be able to put that on, and he wasn't present, right? But it was a dope event. So that says he has something great going on, man. I'm just glad that we're able to support it and have him on the show to talk about it.
Yeah, man.
Yep. Well, listen, y'all, we out of here. We'll catch y'all on another episode of the Forte Podcast. I am your co-host, Dominic Epps.
And I'm your co-host, Randall Monfiston. What's your forte?
Hey, we out of here, folks. It was good having y'all today. We out. Peace. Let's go.